Hi guys, it's Lynn here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Now today guys, I'm going to be telling you how you can care for the very wacky, beautiful and unusual Cereus forbesii Spiralis cactus plant, which is these two here. Absolutely very beautiful, very wacky and unusual cactus. Now these are our two very amazing Cereus forbesii Spiralis that we have in our collection. This one here is my own personal one, and this one here is Hans's, and we got these a couple of years ago now from a fantastic garden centre here in Dublin called Urban Plant Life. And this one is a bit more of a sort of cristative version of the forbesii, and this one here is more the commonly seen forbesii Spiralis that is the exact sort of spiral going all the way around, because they're both quite different. We sort of liked them and ended up getting both of them, and good for the video to show how they can vary in how they look in their appearance, but they all have that lovely sort of spiral look about them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Cereus forbesii Spiralis and also how to care for it. Now, a little bit about it. Well, Cereus forbesii Spiralis is a fast-growing columnar, and then it later forms into a branching cactus that over time can form into a really nice candelabra effect, sort of going all the way. And it branches from the base, and it can reach up to 13 feet in height eventually, and about 5 inches wide with each individual branch here, so about 5 inches, quite wide, and as I say, lovely big candelabra forming from the base. And when they first sort of start to grow, when they're grown from seed, they'll actually grow straight, and then after about 5 centimetres, the seedlings then start to twist into the more commonly seen spiral pattern. So when people sometimes sow these from seeds and they germinate, they go, oh, they're growing straight, they just look like normal straight growing cacti. But after so many inches, about 5 centimetres, then they'll start to spiral and resemble the mother. And this cactus is becoming a lot more common in cultivation now. It was quite rare at one time to find, and it's only sort of specialist online cactus nurseries that you'd get this from. But now it's getting more common, and you often quite see it in good garden centres and even florist shops now. It's getting a bit of a cult following, as it is very sort of catching on in popularity. And so where did this amazing cactus originate from? Well, it originated from Brazil, and it was probably around 1980 that a few cuttings from this original plant, which was in Brazil, that was taken and imported into Europe. And now nearly all of the Cereus Spiralis that are sold now for sale are seed grown. And if you want to see the original, very original Cereus forbesii Spiralis that the cultivar of this came from in Brazil, check out a photograph now. And that's where all these cultivars have come from. Now this comes by many different names. Most commonly one will be the spiral cactus, but sometimes it's also called the helter-skelter cactus or the twisted cactus, because it has a very sort of alien-like appearance to it. Now, how to care for this cactus then? Well, when it comes to the lighting, the mature plants can take full sun, like the majority of desert type of cacti can. But when they are young, especially when they're at the seedling stage, certainly below sort of about 3 inches anyway, they definitely need to have a lot more shade. But after that, they can take pretty much full sun, as long as ventilation and fresh air, obviously fresh air and ventilation can be given. Now you want to protect these cacti from very hot, intense sun. So if you're growing them behind glass like greenhouses or windows, they can go a little bit yellow if they get too much sun without ventilation. So bear that in mind. If you can't give them adequate ventilation, or you have a very, very, very sunny hot window, you can provide a little shade cloth just to give it a little bit more shade. But other than that, they can take pretty much good sun. Now, when it comes to the soil, these cacti like a very, very well-draining soil mix. And I like to make my own cactus soil for these Cereus Spiralis cacti of 3 equal parts of a loam-based soil mixed with horticultural sand, sharp sand, and grit. If I can't use grit, I'll use perlite, but I prefer to use grit. And if you want to know how I make my own cactus soil, do check out a video I have made. Links up above. And also at the end of this video, in the cards, it will show you how I make the cactus soil for these, and including how I've used to repot these up with. And I have made a repotting video when I repotted my Cereus Spiralis, so I'll also link that at the end screen as well of this video, so check that out too. And watering. Now, in the spring and summer, these cacti can take pretty much lots of watering, as long as the soil in the pot dries out before you water again. So don't just keep them permanently wet, because even in the summertime when they are actively grown, if they're kept in soggy soil, they can still rot. But allow the soil to dry out in between and then give a good water again. They're quite fast growing plants, so they do like to be well watered during the spring and summer, as long as the soil can dry out. And then in the winter time, they do prefer to be kept mostly dry, as the majority of desert type of cacti do. But if they start to show signs of very wrinkling and shriveling, which they can do, this particular one here, which is mine, it's in a sunny window overwintering, and a couple of weeks ago it was starting to look very shriveled, so I did give it a bit of water, then it's plumped back up again. But other than that, there's no need to water these during the winter. Keep dry unless they're shriveling. And so that's pretty much it then, yes. And then with the fertilising, now probably with these, they are quite sort of hungry plants as such compared to some cacti. So I'd recommend feeding these in the spring and the summer with a good quality cactus fertiliser, probably every 2 to 3 weeks. A good feed, certainly a minimum of at least once every 3 weeks anyway. And it does help to promote flowering as well. Now, temperature. The minimum winter temperature of these, they're not cold hardy cacti, and they definitely need to be overwintered warm, unlike some cacti that can take sort of minus temperatures. These need to be overwintered at a minimum of 10 degrees Celsius, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. As I say, they can't take any frost at all. Now, the ideal winter temperature to overwinter these in would possibly be probably about 10 to 12 Celsius, 50 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, no lower than that. And their ideal temperature for the all-round growing in the spring and summer will be about 60 to 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 16 to 26 degrees Celsius. And you want to protect these from excessive heat if it's above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, because the stems can sort of scar and scab if it's very, very hot and you haven't got the ventilation. So just bear that in mind. Other than that, they can take quite a lot of heat, as a lot of normal cacti can. Now, repotting. You want to repot, obviously, when they've outgrown the pot. And you only ever want to do it in the spring and the summer, unless it's an emergency and you have to do an emergency repot in winter. Falls out the pot or it rots or anything like that. But if it's normal growth, spring and summer is best. As I say, with a well-draining cactus mix, as I mentioned earlier. And when you do repot these, then make sure that you keep them dry probably for the first 7 to 10 days before watering again, just to allow the roots to settle into the new pot. And as I say, I've made a video when I repotted mine, so do check that out on the end screens of this video. Now, flowering. These the Cereus forbesii Spiralis have lovely white and pink blooms in the summertime. And very beautiful. Ours have not flowered for us yet, but hopefully one day. And the buds are a lovely deep purple colour as well. And then if they get pollinated, they develop deep red fruits. And their fruits are edible as well, as are all cactus fruits. And propagation, again, propagating is always best done during the spring and summer. And it can be done by seeds or cuttings. And if you're growing from cuttings, it's important that when you take the cuttings, that you allow the cutting to fully callus over, form a white thick crust before putting into cactus soil. Because if you just take the cutting and then put straight into soil, it can rot. So you must allow it to callus over first. And seeds, if you're growing from seed, I've made videos on how to grow cacti from seed as well, so do check that out. And the seeds will take anything from 2 to 5 weeks to germinate if they're given around 25 Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you want to sow the seeds in the winter, you can do, if you can give them extra heat and they're grown under grow lights. But other than that, it's best to wait for the spring and summer. Pests as well with all cacti, mealybugs and spider mites are the main ones. These particular Spiralis cacti are very prone apparently to mealybugs. And the reason being, as you can see, maybe not so much on this one, but here they can really go in all the nooks and crannies, and they really can hide and suck the life out of your plants. And how I treat mealybugs on my cacti, and I also treat spider mite the same, is by using horticultural neem oil. And I've made a few videos on how to use neem oil to get rid of and prevent pests on plants. So do check that video out. Links also up above and at the end screen of this video too. And that's pretty much it, guys. I think I've covered all the care on this absolutely amazing Spiralis cactus. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to know a little bit more on how to grow cacti and succulents, please do check out my website, desertplantsofAvalon.com. And if you haven't done already, please do subscribe and don't forget to click that notification bell. Ding ding. So I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness and tons of Cactus Spiralis power from across the Emerald Isle. And until my next video, bye, bye, bye. Thanks for watching, guys.